everyone, and welcome to another VHS Vault stream. I'm Hannah. How's everyone doing? We have all sorts of weird old stuff to take a look at today, so it should be fun. We have this weird old kids show. We have a bunch of educational films that are equally bizarre, so it should be good. How is everyone doing? Hey, Talons over on YouTube. Rick M, how's it going? Rick M with 180 stream streak says, "Hi, I'm Hannah. Many people enjoy hanging out with me online because I'm smart, funny, kind, empathetic, and cute. Funny that your name's also Hannah and we share no other attributes." M. Scheffler, thanks for a 3-stream streak, says, 3 in a row, and I catch the start. Lucky me. Indeed, lucky all of us for your presence. So, yeah, I don't think I have any housekeeping other than the next patron and YouTube member-only live show is going to be on Sunday. So if you'd like to be a part of that, make sure you join the Patreon as a paid member or become a YouTube member. We're going to watch, I think, Project Metal Beast, which is a cheesy robot werewolf movie. It should be fun. And if you want to support the stream otherwise, you can always use bits, super chats, gift subscriptions, gift memberships, etc. All right, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to watch today, I found, it is called Polly Pockets. It is not affiliated with the toy in any way, to my knowledge. This is not affiliated with the toy Polly Pocket. Happens to have a similar name. Polly Pockets. Let's check it out. Perfect, welcome back. Good to see you again. Today we're looking at weird old shows and educational films. We only do tinfoil stuff on Tuesday. Tuesday I always do tinfoil stuff. Otherwise it just depends on the day. I usually do it more than one day a week, but the other days are floating, so it just depends. Input.
Come along and join all the fun. Oh, tell everyone under the sun. Polly's Pockets, magic, it's true. There's a pocket that is red and orange, yellow, green, and blue. There's a little magic in the magic pocket. There's a little music in the music pocket. There's a little story in the story pocket. And the cartoon that's new.
Optical printers were a mistake.
There's a little bunny in the...
When's the meme stock update? I think Friday we're gonna do meme stocks. There's been a lot of updates in the meme stock stuff since we did it last, and we talked about the PP show and Marantz and the GME people. So Friday we'll do our big meme stock update stream.
Bunny pocket!
And a little nothing
Hey, creepy doll on the wall.
in the nothing pocket. There's a little something in the something pocket, and it's there for you.
No!
Fish.
Oh no, he's Johnny Somali-ing.
Oh, it's so...
Creepy doll on the wall, thanks for 41 months, says, wow, 41 months, that's almost a whole year. I don't know if you're maths, but I respect it nonetheless.
nice to get back to our play.
Yes, my dear, it's nice to span those miles to our special gardens and see how all of my inventions are progressing.
These plants are dry. I can fix that. I have a little water in my water pocket. There.
You have everything in those pockets.
About anything you'd want. Mystical beads, teeny tiny treasures in a gold chest, a change of face.
Oh, she has an Alice, Sweet Alice murder mask. That's rad. I get it. Okay, so her whole deal is she has pockets with everything in them. Kind of like Mary Poppins, but instead of a magic bag, it's all up on her dress. Hey, Nemesaur. H. Baird says, a woman with pockets. This truly is a fantasy.
Here, a very hot cup of tea. My pockets are as valuable as your tingleberries.
Ah,
Do his berries tingle? You should probably see a doctor. I don't think that's normal.
the tingleberries, the dilly daisies,
Oh, and look.
the balloon bush.
Oh, and the shoe tree.
Ah, yes, they're coming on fine, bless their little souls.
Andy, look. Oh,
Oh,
these are
yeah.
both ripe, and they're so beautiful. Oh, Andy, everything seems to be just wonderful. Andy, what's this?
Ah, my greatest creation since the discovery of the tingleberry. Built it entirely myself.
But Andy, what is it? I'd like to know.
In
Wouldn't
due
you?
time, in due time, everyone, in due time.
How long is due time?
Butterbird, thanks for continuing your gift sub.
About a minute after you look into the possible pocket.
That makes it
How deep are her pockets? They're bigger on the inside.
possible to be here.
Anytime there's a character in fiction that can store things in tiny spaces more than they should be able to, and wears eccentric clothing, they're a Time Lord. My headcanon. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 10 Tier 1 subs and kicking off a hype train. Much, much appreciated.
Following the classical remarks, I shall describe my greatest creation.
A possible.
I feel like this show has much of a plot so far. I'm a little confused.
Now, Andy, now, what is this great creation?
The Aeolian Loman.
Oh, that's wonderful. What's an Aeolian loan?
She's just wearing this item. Robe of useful items. I had a vest of useful items once in D&D. I don't think I ever used it.
That, my dear, is the grandacious creation for musical appreciation. The key to any musical mood.
The plot is whimsy and delight. I don't know if that's a plot. I think that's more vibe. 25% to level 4. Oh, and a juggle command. That's appropriate for the vibe.
Demonstrate.
Oh, yes, please do.
Well, do my...
Hannah needs a take a bow redeem. I need more skills. I'm thinking about doing... You guys know how I've been trying to memorize soliloquy from Hamlet. Thinking about adding a redeem that for a certain amount of points you can make me recite it until I remember at that point. That'll help me remember it.
Oh.
I do want to point out, when we say that children are getting brain rotted by Coco Melon, I would say that shit like that existed in the past too, so there's that. Which soliloquy? To be or not to be? That is the question. That one. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and to say we sleep, so say we end the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to, is a consummation rightly to be wished.
Oh, Andy, that's splendacious. It's wonderful.
Why, my dear, it is so constructed that any...
Can't even play chopsticks? It's pretty easy. You just bang them against a table. Waka waka.
Anyone can play.
Minute left on the hype train.
And me?
That, my dear Polly, is why I built it, so you can accompany me on my amazing feats of legerdemain.
Was there still lead in paint when this was made? There was lead in the air when this was made. There was lead everywhere. You just breathed it in everywhere, all the time. It's how we got Gen X and Boomers. Procagom, thank you so much for 45 months at Tier 3. Level 4 complete on the hype train.
Dear, sit down on the footstool. That's right, my dear. And I'll play.
The best version of that Hamlet soliloquy, by the way, is the one where Ethan Hawke is in a Blockbuster video doing it. Mostly because I get to listen to the soliloquy while also looking at footage of a vintage 90s Blockbuster video.
Why, Andy, it's marvelous. It works. And I can play music while you perform.
That's how I planned it. And now, with the help of my accomplice, who shall accompany me on the amazing artistic mighty Aeolian, I, Dandy Andy, the omnipotent, shall thrill you with my legerdemain, sleight of hand, magic. Correct that, rabbit. Now I shall remove the rabbit
I think that rabbit is cousins with the groundhog from Caddyshack.
from the hat. Oh, yes, the magic word.
Didn't they recite it in Bill and Ted? I don't recall that.
Scroit, Macacia, Gleep, Scrunk, Kazam, Kazam. Civet cat.
Does that make Last Action Hero a good movie now, too? No offense, but Last Action Hero is a good movie. It is. I like Last Action.
In other words, a skunk.
Oh, Andy, you and your rabbit habits.
Enough of this nonsense.
Stop making jokes, he has a serious problem.
I'll stick to my rabbit habit, and you stick to your pockets, Polly. Now for that pencil pocket.
There's a little pencil in the pencil pocket. But, Andy, it's just an ordinary pencil.
Ah, but wait and see. And now, the paper.
Oh, yes, the paper pocket. There you are.
I draw...
Orion says, hey, Gen Xers aren't that bad. I'm not making any judgments about individual people. I'm talking about broad demographics and their voting habits and their ideological bent. I'm not talking about you individually.
A little cow, a boy cow. See, it is a cowboy. Next, I draw another cow. Definitely a girl. Therefore, this is a cowgirl. Yes, this is the furious big cow, a big, strong bull.
Well, a bull is a bull.
But this
Sorry, I'm used to deviant art. Why isn't he drawing their veiny cocks?
is a cow bull. The little cowboy going off alone. That's very dangerous. So naturally, the cow bull, being a bully, seized the opportunity to chase the little cowboy, and he does.
Andy, how did you draw that so fast?
Well, our little cowboy is in trouble.
But, Andy, what happens next?
Another time, dear, another time.
Oh, but
What? To be continued about the furry story. That's
I want to
bullshit.
know now.
Minute on the hype train.
And now I, Dandy Andy the Magnificent, shall entertain you.
Cow Yowie. Are you thinking of the Cowboys of Moon Mesa or of Moo Mesa? Because that's that. 30 seconds on the hype train.
Behold, an ordinary rope. And presto, it's a knot. Slip knot. Polly, I think I'll need about a minute to get in a bit of practice.
Oh, in that case, I just happen to have something from the possible pocket.
Pulling into the commercial pocket.
Are you ready yet, Andy?
Thank you for the hype train, everyone.
Just as soon as I get this rope untied.
This could take all day. Afraid ya.
We've been in this audience too long. There's no such thing as too long. You're stuck here forever. Sorry, them's the rules. If I'm stuck here, you're stuck here. Mystic Snow, thanks for following.
And now I, Dandy Andy the Magnificent, shall perform my genuine, original Hindu rope trick borrowed from the mysterious fakers of the Far East.
Oh!
Ooh, Swami hat, huh? Oh, it's Karnak.
That's called when a knot is not a knot, and vice versa.
This requires more and more thought than I thought, Polly. Why don't you look into it, one of those pockets, Polly?
All right, you choose one.
That one.
Oh! An onion. That reminds me of an adventure. The one I had in the Castle of Gloom. Andy, it happened just on the other side of that door.
Are we actually going to see a plot happen? Do we get a plot in the show? That would be incredible. I was just expecting 30 more minutes of just nonsense. Like vaudeville for children, so there's less thought. And I like vaudeville for, you know, a reasonable amount of time.
On one of my adventures, I found myself going toward a broken-down castle. It was in sad need of repair.
Oh, it's all just drawn, like, with markers. Okay.
Inside, it was worse.
Oh,
where I met
just the establishing shot. That's fine.
a most unhappy little man who did nothing but cry and sob.
Has he overdosed on colloidal silver? Why does he look like that? He looks like Mother God from the Love Has Won cult that they mummified. Remember that? That was a great arc.
I tried to cheer him. I smiled. I sang. But he cried all the more. I discovered I was in the Castle of Gloom.
Has that cult fallen apart yet? It fractured, so some of them are running different stuff. Two of the girls, the ones that did the show together, are doing a different show now. Father God and Father Multiverse, I think, went off and formed their own online show. And then others became, like, roommates and other stuff. So the actual original cult has dispersed. But many of them still believe the tenets of the cult. And still believe that Mother God was God. And that the plan is still happening. But they've kind of separated as a group. You're sad you never saw Butternips. It's nothing to write home about, you know? My nipples back then weren't what they are now. Now they're fantastic. Back then they were marginal at best. This kind of feels like Aliens tried to make a show. Like, they're aware that a plot is a thing that is supposed to happen, but they didn't really explain who are these guys? Why is the manor a Gloom Manor? Who was the guy earlier? What are they doing? Why are they trying to capture her? Why is she here?
culprit, Your Majesty. We culprit you before King Gloom and Queen Glum.
You know you fuck up when you get the failed tuba music. That's embarrassing. You can't come back from a fail so silly it gets tuba. Mm-mm. We're looking at some old gems and you stumbled across the bod of Alabama Jones. What happened to him? Oh, the VOD of Alabama Jones. I think I just stopped. I don't think he did anything else. I think even when we watched those videos, those were older videos, and I just don't think he ever followed up. For those who don't know what that is, it was someone we covered. We called him Alabama Jones because he dressed kind of like Indiana Jones and he wanted to run for president. He had a bunch of really kooky ideas. I don't remember what they were specifically, but they were really out there. Was he gonna hit the queen? What was that stare? Yeah, this was like the 60s, so you could still make jokes about domestic abuse, and it was just like, haha, isn't that funny? Like, think back to the Honeymooners. When was that, the 50s? That had a pretty running joke about him beating his wife. Bang, boom, straight to the moon.
King Gloom and Queen Glum.
Don't whimper. Cry out loud.
What's the charge?
It is decried. The culprit is charged with a few happy misdemeanors, such as wearing bright colors, smiling, dancing, singing, humming,
Of course.
talking sweetly. Why, she even helped an old man crossing the moat.
Oh, terrible crimes. What shall it be?
Phoenix says, this is from the 60s, so we're supposed to be on drugs while we watch it. That's why it doesn't make sense. Maybe she'll reach into her MDMA pocket for us.
No puny punishment.
What tortures are there?
Hot seat, stocks and bonds.
No.
Chopping block, stretch rack.
No.
Iron maiden.
No.
Thumb stretcher.
No.
Guillotine. Blackmail.
No.
Hanging by the ankle. Boiling rock. Water. Torture.
Why is the king wearing leggings?
There's nothing left but the onion dungeon. The onion dungeon.
The Onion Dungeon? Well, that sounds good. That's sad. It'll make her cry, cry, cry.
Feels like Proto, Sid, and Marty Croft. Hey, this guy's no witchy poo. But no, I know what you mean. I definitely get it. It's got that, like, very out there costuming and, like, fairy tale storybook, like, design attempts. I get what you're saying.
Become a gloomy.
Oh, no, you don't. You can't do that to me. Ah, you can't make me cry.
When I was a kid, I thought butterfly nets and being caught in comically large ones would be a bigger part of my life. You know? In The Cat in the Hat, they capture Thing 1 and Thing 2 with them. In all sorts of cartoons and stuff, they catch dogs at the pound with them. Really, I really thought nets would be a bigger part of adulthood. And I'm just disappointed. I don't think I've seen a net in 15 years.
Only 3 more onions and she'll become a gloomy.
Count, count, count your onions. Count, count, count your onions.
Whee! peel, you run so very fine. No, you run quicker in a line. Count, you run 1 and 2 and 3. 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, more than you can see.
Why, you're happy.
The king kind of looks like the Ice King, by the way.
Oh, I'm so
He's a
glad
little too tall, but he's got Ice King vibes a little bit.
I brought happiness to your life.
Happiness! Happiness is a purple onion.
Bermuda!
Purple,
Bermuda!
purple,
Bermuda!
purple.
This is dismal!
Oh, we must go to the feeling sorry for ourselves room.
Oh, wait a minute, you have the wrong idea. But you don't understand. You can't.
We must take a gloomy outlook. It's no fun being happy.
The gloom room may gloom forever.
Peel your onions.
Gloom, may it live forever.
Count your onions.
Count your onions.
Oh, fuck, are we doing a reprise? Phoenix Leftist, thanks for a 325 stream streak.
Oh, isn't it fun being happy?
Happy? Sound the guard!
But
Phew. You'd be so surprised how I got away from all of those onions. But I'll tell you more about that another time. Right now, I'd like to look into the possible pockets.
oh my goodness, it's JP. He's in the pet pocket. Oh, he must be hungry. That's all right, JP. Quiet, I'll get something.
I think it's inhumane to keep your pets in your pocket. Alright, I think that commercial break is probably a good place to pause on that. We might come back to it later. But for now, let's move on to the next thing.
Well, it was a typical weekday morning. Crowded and hectic. Tense but normal. There was no reason, no forecast to indicate today would be different than yesterday or tomorrow.
When was the first usage of this, like, busy city music? Because we've all heard this. It's a trope, you know? It's a montage of a city, and it's like, doo, 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 doo. It's just that music. Who did that first?
Yes, this was an average day. That is until something happened. Phenomena that would affect every human on Earth. United Nations headquarters has announced that at 9:17 a.m. this morning, an unidentified spacecraft from outer space landed at the World Organization.
Oh!
The UN delegates were stunned by this unexpected development and the disclosure that occupants of the saucer-shaped ship deplaned and demanded an immediate audience. United Nations committees met in private caucus and promptly called for a Security Council meeting to determine UN policy.
At 10:05, the ambassadors gathered here in the Security Council chambers, when for the first time they met to discuss a potential threat from another planet. Within the hour, it was agreed a General Assembly meeting would be held, when the space visitors would address our world's representatives. At 12 noon, this meeting was concluded, and an announcement was just made that a press conference would be held with the space travelers, a broadcast on television and radio to an anxious world.
This initial international press conference with the space visitors is about to begin. The first question will be asked by John C. Holmes of the New York Times.
Who are you and where are you
Gershwin, Rhapsody in Blue. Okay.
from?
My name is Skodo, and this is my son Palachu. We're from Mars.
I'm sorry, what's his name?
Miss Skodo, and this is my son Palachu. We're
Palachu?
from Mars.
Pop took me down here so I could study the Stone Age. We're more advanced, you know.
Are you here to cause trouble, or do you plan to coexist? By the heavens, I assure you we're very friendly. As we explained to the General Assembly, Martians are very peaceful.
How is it you understand English?
That's easy. We've been monitoring your planet for a long time. We just kept tuning in on one of your Berlin schools.
Parlez-vous français? That's French, you know. I got straight A's in planet languages.
How long did it take you to reach our world?
This early cut of Mac and Me is weird. Not enough drinking Coca-Cola from the core of the planet.
Well, according to the way you measure time, 1 hour and 3 minutes. It was a long trip. 3 minutes to Earth, and an hour from the airport to the UN.
What are your immediate plans?
To take my son Palachu for a tour of your world. I guess you could call us interplanetary tourists.
When will your tour begin?
Tomorrow morning, the mayor of this city has invited us to a ticker tape parade.
Well, let's hope the weather will...
You're organizing that in a day? That's a lot. Ashley says, in Trump voice, "We need to annex Mars for national security purposes."
Will be nice.
My Trump impression is, rusty, which frankly good.
It will be. My son and I will arrange for a sunny day. We're able to do such things, you know.
Never before
I knew the deep state had alien puppet technology to change the weather.
in history have so many millions gathered for one event. New York's welcoming parade for Skoda Martian and his son Palachu. The crowd started forming at dawn and have increased steadily since. Schools and offices have been closed. The excitement and anticipation is unparalleled.
It's pretty rad if you had homework due that day and you didn't do it. Saved because first contact. What a rad reason to not have to do a test or something.
Representatives of the United States Armed Forces, public dignitaries, officials from every country and important world organization, the American and Russian astronauts, all present to greet these visitors from Mars. And what a day it is! Cloudless and mild, just as Skoda Martian forecast.
And then Skodo summons a tornado to murder all of these people. When will you learn, Earthlings? You fools! Don't trust people who come to visit you. Don't you know the history of colonialism on your own planet? Yeah! They actually filmed a parade with these goddamn puppets. That's funny.
This gigantic ticker tape parade, the beginning of the most important news event in history.
I wonder what actual parade they shot this at in order to get this footage, because, like, a lot of it's B-roll that could be anything. But, like, this specific shot of the puppets is at, like, an actual, you know, parade. I'm wondering what parade they did it at. People are in jackets. So it's cool. Could be a winter Christmas parade thing.
The entire world's communication systems devoted to but one topic, the Martian.
Oh no! They were trying to warn him!
The problems of a divided world, fading in the shadow of this event. The newspapers, television, radio, magazines, all observing every movement made by Skoto and Palachu Martian as they begin their tour, searching for knowledge of our world and a way of life.
We appreciate the acclaim you've given us since our arrival. But we think it's time you had an idea of what our tour would include. Here are some coming attractions of our itinerary. Please understand, each stop on our journey will tell an entire story. But for the moment, you're getting only a glimpse of what our adventures will include. Shall we begin, Palachu?
Right, Pop. Let's start with our tour of Broadway. Wowee! What a time we'll have!
Did you guys see Trump called Cats a non-woke musical? I just found that to be a very funny sentence. He was talking about the Kennedy Center because, you know, he unilaterally took that over and canceled a bunch of shows that he thought were woke. And he was like, we need non-woke musicals at the Kennedy Center like Cats. His brain is genuinely stuck in 1984. Very funny. Phoenix says, I'm jealous. My dad barely remember I existed, let alone took me to visit an alien planet. That's relatable. And I also remembered something the other day that really fucked me up. Because one of the only times I remember actually interacting with my dad in any sort of even pseudo-positive way, it was when he got a DVD player, and he was having me put in a DVD, and he taught me how to hold it the right way. Because you gotta hold it correctly so you don't, like, smudge it up or scratch it. And that memory's burned into my brain. And I think it's, like, the core principle for 90% of my personality and why I'm so into movies, to some extent, Blu-rays. It fucks me up! Why am I a caricature?
Palachu, be the girl. Remember, I promised to show you what they were like.
I like! We should take some of them home. They'd be nice to have around the house. What are they doing?
They're entertaining the Earthlings.
Is that all they're used for?
No, they also carry things, spend money, make Earthmen happy, sad, jealous, and
Make Earthmen happy.
tired, and baby.
Pop, Earth people may not be as advanced as us, but they got the right idea about girls.
Why? What?
Quiet
Why is the child Martian horny?
and watch the show.
I'd rather watch the girls.
I'm disgusted. This is for children. H-Baird says, Palachu, the original Manosphere influencer. And Ashley One Up says, give him a break, Hannah. It only happens once every 7 years. I didn't assume the clock started when they were born. I didn't think at 7 I'd have to deal with a child's fucking pon farr.
Where are we now?
This is a museum of modern art. Those things on the walls are paintings.
They look more like our Martian road map. Can't we go somewhere else?
You behave yourself.
What are you doing here?
We're the Martians. Would you mind explaining what your modern art is all about?
These paintings represent the existentialism of the contemporary exponents of modern art.
What'd he say? What'd he say?
Perhaps if we took you for a guided tour of the museum, it would help you understand.
But, Pop, we didn't come 600 million miles to see primitive art. I mean, there's
Freyline says, for the sake of not spreading misinformation, they haven't canceled anything yet. All canceled events were canceled by the event themselves. They've been more focused on trying to, quote, convince people to quit. Ah.
This Florida underwater circus should be interesting.
Did they say Florida?
This Florida underwater circus should be interesting.
Florida underwater circus. If aliens ever make first contact, I cannot stress this enough. We cannot let them go to Florida. We can't let them see the worst of us. It'll go badly. Don't let them into the deranged meth swamp.
You know, son, over 9/10 of this world's
Maybe
surface
the aliens will destroy Florida, like in the Zindi War.
is covered by water.
With what we've seen so far, it's a pretty good idea. Couldn't we bring home a couple of oceans? I mean, if they got so many, they'd hardly miss one or two.
Perhaps, but it might be a bit crowded on our spaceship.
This looks like an interesting place.
It's an amusement park. We're having fun.
Carnival of Souls sequel sucks.
Hey, this is wild.
Too wild for me, son. I control our spaceship. Oh, not if I could help it.
These are my favorite flat ride. In terms of fair rides, flat rides, which are like the kind of rides at carnivals and stuff that arrive on a truck and fold out flat. These are my favorite. What are these called? Goddamn Tilt-A-Whirl? I fucking love Tilt-A-Whirls. I also love the Scrambler. Anything that makes me go in predictable patterns or circles, good shit.
There's so many things we can do on Earth, Parachute.
I tell you, Pop, I'm so excited I'm going out of my space helmet.
I do hope that you'll join us on our journey. And remember that each stop on our tour will tell a complete story. But now you'll have to excuse us, for we have a supper engagement with the Kennedys. And if we're late, Caroline will be most upset.
Oh boy, if we're late, Jack is gonna blow his top. Have you ever gone to ride Leap the Dips? It's the oldest roller coaster in America. No, I've not. I've been to Cedar Point and Michigan Adventure, so I've done a lot of their roller coasters. I've been to Disney and Universal. I did a lot of their roller coasters and rides. Is this supposed to be like a model of an atom? What is this? I don't understand what I'm supposed to be looking at. Oh, they're not gonna explain. Good. That's for the best. What? That's just the end? What the fuck?
Caroline will be most upset.
Is it supposed to be their ship? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to tell us. Again, if it's supposed to be the ship, fine, but it doesn't really establish that for me. I missed the naked lady riding a seahorse. I think that's for the best. Here's a show you might like. It started as part of the My Little Pony lineup. It got one season. Moon Dreamers? Oh boy. This looks like one of those super toyified 80s shows that happened after they loosened regulations, got rid of regulations against TV shows just being big ads to children. Thanks, Ronald Reagan, for ruining the country before Trump ruined it even more. Appreciate it.
You're not dreaming, it's the moon dreamers. Dreaming up dreams for me and you. You're not dreaming, it's the moon dreamers. Making your sweetest dreams come true.
Oh, yeah. That's a toy. I love we can immediately look at a cartoon character and go like, oh yeah, they designed that with the toy in mind. They already had the fucking model for the toy made up. Hats off. Afghanistan. What do you want me to wear for the hats off?
Sweet dreams both near and far from a beautiful magical star. You're not dreaming, it's the moon dreamers helping to make things turn
Dealer's choice. Ooh.
out right. You're not dreaming, it's the moon dreamers make your dreams take flight.
America.
Hang on! I'm gonna let go! I'm doing it on my own! Whoa! Hold on!
Awful intro song. Yeah, it's no Transformers.
Oh! Tommy, are you okay? Yeah, but I wish I could ride this bike. Give yourself time. Anyway, we better quit for now. A shooting star! So what? So
I wish our lives could be a mediocre toy commercial for kids.
if you wish upon a shooting star, then your wish will come true. Oh, I'm too old for that. Excuse me, little brother.
Oh my god, is she related to the cartoon Link? Excuse me, princess.
Before Mom gets mad. Shooting star, I wish I could ride this bike tomorrow. What am I doing? There's no one up there. No one.
Oh, do they, like, grant your wishes? Is that their deal? Oh, of course, they, like, glide over
Solar
the...
skating is fun. Hide and seek. Oh, Blinky, look out.
Why does my head hurt? Ow.
I'll save you, Blinky. Grab my hand. Hey. Help! Help! Help!
Gotcha!
Help! Help!
Have you ever seen Noozles? It's an 80s anime about an Australian girl and her stuffed koalas that come to life, fly, and are from a magical dimension called Koala Lala Land. The girl koala opens up portals by drawing circles with her lipstick. I have never heard of that at all, no.
Are you gonna eat us?
Ursa eats mostly anything.
Very funny.
Who are you?
My name is Ursa Major. I'm a solar bear.
I get it.
That loudmouth is named Rory, the flying lion.
At your service.
They're the
Who are you?
constellations.
My name's Blinky.
Do you get it?
And she's Bitsy. She's real shy.
Why in Saturn's name were you in the ocean of unconsciousness?
We fell in by accident. We were on our way to Staria.
Staria? Is that a city?
Yes, it's where the moon dreamers live. We want to be moon dreamers.
What's a moon dreamer?
They make dreams for children on Earth. Want to come with us? Maybe you can be moon dreamers too.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, hop on.
Gee, thanks. Ooh.
Off we go.
Don't let strangers ride you after one 5-minute conversation.
Ursa, where
Not
are you
safe.
and Rory from?
We were in a star circus until one
At least they're wearing a saddle. It's not bareback.
day we were kidnapped.
Kidnapped?
Yes, by the evil Queen Scowleen, ruler of monstrous Middle.
Where's Monster's Middle?
It's down below us, somewhere.
On Earth?
No, above Earth, but below us. It's in the middle.
Who is Scowleen?
Well, let me tell you about Scowleen. She's a mean, crabby queen who can't sleep.
Whose fault is that? That's, That's relatable villain motivation. They're always tired. Yeah, I get that. Let her murder you. Maybe it'll help her sleep.
Made us jump all night long so she could count us like sheep.
Did that make her sleep?
Just the opposite. My fur made her sneeze.
H-Bird says, being a moon dreamer sounds like a good idea, but eventually burn out and keep giving people the same dream about having a test you didn't study for a course you haven't gone to all semester. Hate that dream. Phoenix has found the opening to Noozles. Give me the graham cracker dog treats. Nom, nom, nom. Oh! That's a weird... No, I don't like that. Oh! Haim Saban! They did Power Rangers. And VR Troopers. And Beetleborgs. And Addams Family Vacation. And Casper Meets Wendy. And Casper: A Spirited Beginning. I miss Bananas in Pajamas. This was one of my favorite shows when I was really little. I just want to see the intro. Doon doo doon doon doo doon.
Bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas are coming down in pairs. Bananas in pajamas are chasing teddy bears. 'Cause on Tuesdays they all try to catch them unawares.
Fucking love Bananas in Pajamas. They're so good. It's not a cartoon, by the way, if you haven't seen it. They're live-action bananas. Sorry, I think I got Scooby Snack down the wrong pipe.
We'll be all right, as long as no
Are the bananas naked? Why are they naked?
one sees us.
Banana! I've come to see you!
It's Morgan! He'll see us, B2!
Bananas! Banana? Oh, that's funny. I was sure I heard someone in here.
I miss the bananas. Does anyone remember Adventures in Wonderland? This is one more thing, and then we'll go back to the thing we were watching. But this was one of my favorite kid shows. Legitimately, it's so deep in my brain that one time I had a terrible panic attack, and I had Baja put this show on to try and calm me down, because it was real bad. It was a bad one. I loved this fucking show as a kid. Ozma's the wrong franchise. Ozma's from Wizard of Oz.
Hold on to your seat, let's go for a ride. Now that we're here on the other side. Use your imagination and your honor.
Oh yeah, Tweedledee and Tweedledum were b-boy dancers, because it was the late 80s. Yeah, Defunctland does a video about that.
While she was
Have I seen Alex Mack? I love Alex Mack. I have the complete series on DVD.
sneezing, we escaped.
Which I think is still available for like $10. So if you like Alex Mack, maybe check online. I got it for real cheap a couple years ago.
And one way or the other, we made our way here.
Oh, look!
Because I don't think... Is Alex Mack streaming anywhere? Maybe on Paramount Plus. But you can get the DVD pretty cheap.
Central.
It's the home of the Moon Dreamers. What do you want?
Nobody sees the wizard. Not no way, not no how.
Oh, hello. We want to become Moon Dreamers. My name is Blinky. This is Bitsy. I'm Sparky. But we don't need help, so go home.
Okay, they did do the bit. Okay.
Oh, dear.
It's an intentional parallel with The Wizard of Oz. It's not a ripoff if you acknowledge it.
Can we at least come in?
This is the animation that promotes a toy line, right? Presumably, yes.
Nope. Only authorized personnel allowed. Sorry.
You want me to see how the toys were? Moon Dreamers toys. Yeah, they existed. Apparently. I don't know how popular they were, but they did exist. Oh, this one came with a record! That's pretty cool. Yeah, that used to be a thing, if you don't know. They'd have little promotional records. Sometimes magazines would have them. They'd be low quality, of course. But that's fun.
But we came so far.
I don't think those moon dreamers do anything anyway. Earth kids just dream, and those moon dreamers
The closest record to me is my Kids Praise record from Salty the Songbook, Kids Praise 3. He did it. This isn't the camp one, unfortunately.
all the credit.
What? We do our own dream work here.
Prove it.
Why, Oh. Step right this way. Ooh, it's beautiful. The most beautiful building in the galaxy. First we have to gather the stuff that dreams are made of.
The song.
We collect what dreams are made of from the outside galaxy. Next we have to mix up the stuff that dreams are made of. Dream Gazer stirs them in a secret recipe. And Dream Gazer's potion is called Imagination Combination. Then Whimsy pours it all in this machine, and out comes a crystal glowing bright. Then it's taken on far to a newly minted
Talon says, I had to look up what docking is. The chat truly taught me a lot today. Ooh, for tomorrow, Google frauding.
courtesy of our very own comet rider, Bucky Buckaroo. Then Celeste brings on the night, and the dream is set in flight. From a star designed by our very own crystal star. We all work together as a team to produce one dream of a dream. And when the kids of Earth think good thoughts, that creates positron energy. That's what
So it's kind of pseudo Monsters Inc. rules. Okay.
we use for power in Starry Up.
Okay, so you're not doing this as like a nice thing to do to give children good dreams. This is cynical. This is you're getting power from the children. Okay.
Well, little friends, do you like how we make dreams? Oh, yes, Crystal. Can we be moon dreamers too?
Is this Star Trek? Yes.
I'm afraid not, Blinky. You see, we don't need any more moon dreamers. Fiddle stars.
Cheer up,
Once someone in Cassifell's stream asked what sounding was, and she drew an illustration with a hot dog. That'll work.
How'd you like to make a
Whatever you do, if you are sounding, don't use a rusty nail. There's a lol cow on the internet that apparently sounded with a rusty nail. Don't do that.
star delivery with old Bucky
Don't
Buckaroo?
don't.
Oh, yes, Bucky. Please.
We'll ride like the wind on my favorite comet, Halley.
dream, Crystal Bucky. Ride carefully.
In fairness, his Sonic toy told him to do it. Are you gonna tell Sonic the Hedgehog no? Just a thought.
Thanks, Whimsy. Giddy up, Hallie, old gal. Away! Yippee!
Bucky?
Fuck off, Sonic. You're not gonna tell Sonic to fuck off. You gonna tell Sonic to fuck off? Go fuck yourself. That's what he's gonna say, because he's Sonic. Why do you take a rusty nail and put it in your penis? Oh, gotta go fast. I'm pretty good at Sonic. That's not bad.
What? That's a
Sorry, I'm amusing myself today.
black hole cover. It covers dangerous black holes. They're doorways between starry up and monstrous...
Also, I should point out, at this point, he was in a sexual relationship with Sonic, so...
Middle.
That's where Scowleen lives.
Yes. Don't touch. They're doorways between Scowleens and
I think the guy I'm talking about's name is like Jay Sonic or something. I forget.
our world. So whatever you do, never open one up. Never.
I'm amusing you too? I know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you?
Come on. Our job's done here, little star folks. Time for us to get back. Time for dreams to begin.
At last! I've been waiting so long to get up here and turn a good dream into a bad, scowly dream! Squawker, give me the bag! Isn't my scowly dream crystal beautiful?
Me and Galaxia towed the moon into place. Good, Celeste. Now let's dreamcast our first dream tonight.
Is the dream gonna teach that kid how to ride a bike? You know how when you dream, you always wake up in bed in the dream?
Wow, I must be dreamy. What a great bike!
Carpcosian says, I live in a world that seems to hate me. That's what's wrong, because trans. Oh my god, me too. Crazy shit.
I can ride this bike.
Doesn't it suck having people hate you for no reason? I can handle people hating me for good reason. That's happened before too. That's fair. But when it's for no reason, and it's strangers who don't like me just because I'm trans and they've been told propaganda, that sucks. That sucks majorly.
It's easy. Hey, that's not right. Oh, Sparky,
What did you do? You fucked up!
what's happening? It's impossible. Negatron energy is ruining the dream. If we don't stop it, the dream machine might blow up, and poor Tommy will be stuck in that scowly dream forever.
I've done it! I've done it!
How long before Wretched Recess transvestigates this? Depends on if she ever saw it as a kid, honestly.
Somebody help me!
And then he died. End of episode. Oh boy. Altered Undying says, Hannah, I need you to know that I have the Don't You Put It In Your Mouth song in my head with something other than the mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth, don't you put it in your mouth, don't you stuff it in your face, don't you stuff it in your face. I gotta skip this because, you know, copyrighted music. Oh, this is a song, too. There's whole sections of songs. What? Oh, shit. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I was a gondola driver, I would simply not pick up the creepy masked man. He looks like he's about to cask of Amontillado someone. I don't know how else to describe this look. This is literally just him going through Venice. I'm gonna skip to the next one. Like a cool toy thing. There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are rowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is a hurricane a-blowing? Good scene. You don't understand my references? That's a shame, because that one is from one of the most famous movies of all time. Go watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Sorry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You're right, I was thinking of the book title. True the other actors didn't know what he was gonna do that, or is that a myth? I'm actually not sure. I like a good stop motion. Heck, I like a bad stop motion. When I mentioned it's the book title, you need to be much snootier. I need to be snooty about reading a book when I was like 6. That's a book for children. Is this present for you? Oh, it makes the Charlie Brown tree look healthy. What is that? Was tinsel historically popular because it kind of covered up all the gaps in your shitty tree? Genuine question, not making a joke. Was that the purpose of tinsel? To try and hide how shitty your tree was? Oh, it's a train set. This just reminds me that unfortunately one of my favorite kids' book series and movies as a kid is Indian in the Cupboard. Does not aged well, unfortunately, and this just reminds me of that. The scene where they bring Darth Vader to life rules, though. For those who haven't seen the scene I'm talking about, I will show you because it's pretty good. So the premise of this is that basically this kid gets a cabinet for his birthday that the sequel books do get really odd, that when he puts toys or objects in them, locks it and then unlocks it and reopens it, they've come to life or they're real. We find out in the later books that it's not the cabinet, it's the key, and then that ties into, I think in the last book, a drama with some people who used to live in a house, and there was the key was like a copy of a key that was made for nefarious purposes. Don't worry about it. All you need to know is you put shit in the cabinet, it comes to life. RoboCop strangles Quark in a sec in this. It's great. Or a Ferengi. I like to think it's Quark. I just love that scene. That's fun. You can see the tinsel shaking in between frames because it moves slightly. remember El Topo being this adorable. Back in the book. We did it. Holy Input, thanks for gifting 2 Tier 1 subs. I appreciate it. Predecessor to Toy Story and Night at the Museum, and arguably Jim Henson's A Christmas Toy. Was that the name of it? Toy Story ripped off Jim Henson's A Christmas Toy quite a bit. Arguably. Thanks for following. Disney should pay his ghost. Oh, it's so much worse than that. Disney bought up, you know, the Muppets and stuff. And the thing about Disney is they'll, like, absorb... If you're, like, a creative or seen by the public as a creative person, especially if you're dead, frankly, they will take ownership of your image and turn it into a marketing device for themselves. So, like, they have this, like, Hall of Creatives or something. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But they basically award certain creatives with this title. And, like, Stan Lee had one of these and stuff. And they gave one to Jim Henson. And it grosses me out because it just feels like this giant mega corporation is using the image and telling the story of a pretty creative guy who I don't think was a big fan of giant mega corporations like Disney. But he died, so his stuff ended up going to them, and they get to own his creations, and it's very sad. There's a lot of heart in the old Muppet stuff, and Disney has never been able to have Muppets seem right compared to pre-Disney, in my opinion. There's been some alright Muppet stuff, but it's not the same. And maybe it never would be, you know? Jim Henson died. He was Kermit, basically, so... I don't know. I will say this, though. They did get one right. I take that back. Christmas Carol. I'm a fan of Muppets Christmas Carol. That one's pretty good. But I think a lot of that rests on Michael Caine. But it's a good movie. Well, that was something. Alright, let's see what else we got. Maybe something educational. Oh, this is just weird. We've seen clips of this before, but I want to watch it. This is a pilot that didn't take off, or at least clips from a pilot.
My name is Rosie, which has always been one of the crowning ironies of my life, because, well, I'm no more a Rosie type than, say, Clark Gable. You see, I was on the bum, or at least I wanted to be. I guess there's a streak of the vagabond in all of us. My last boss sure brought it out in me. She used to tie a pink ribbon around my neck and spritz me with eau de cologne. Whoa! This is more like it. You know, she even threatened to trim me up like one of them French poodles. Can you picture me with a poodle cut? Well, that was the last straw. I decided to make tracks. And I would have been a lot further if I hadn't run into Kip. Running away, huh? Figuring on, joining a circus, kid?
How do you know?
Oh, I'm a student of human nature. Take my advice, kid. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. That tiger, you think he cares for you?
Won't make 'em care.
Kid, to that tiger, you're just an hors d'oeuvre. Take my advice, kid. Go home.
Why don't you go home?
Me? Well, what makes you think I'm not?
Dogs that live at home don't eat out of garbage cans.
Touche. They feed you too well at home, kid. It kind of breaks your spirit of adventure. Now, don't put yourself in my place, because I've been around. I've lived. I guess maybe I am just an old bum at heart.
No, you're not.
Well, romantically speaking, of course. Give me that road, that white winding highway, just... kid, but you're young. You know, right this minute, your parents are probably worried sick about you.
I think this is a good example of how the uncanny valley works, because if you look at a show like Wilfred, which essentially has a similar premise, that one's not creepy because the dog doesn't really look like a dog. It just looks like a guy in a dog costume, which the other, you know, it just looks different.
I've heard Europe's.
I need a better picture. There you go. You've not seen Wilfred. That works. Okay. You can't do all this creepy shit.
Why don't you go home, kid, huh?
Why don't you go home?
Kid, have you ever been sprayed with Shalimar?
What?
Kip, you're too young to understand. Look, you can't get very far. They'll pick you up in the end.
Wow, that guy is quite short. I just realized standing up, he's only barely taller than this child. Huh. Neat.
So why don't you save your parents all this heartbreak?
It makes sense. He's supposed to be a dog, but... just surprised they actually got someone who's smaller.
Make a deal with you.
Keep talking.
I'll go home.
Now, that's more like it.
If you come with me.
Me? Oh, you don't know what you're saying.
The kid could be tall, I guess. They could be doing both.
Come on home with me, Rosie.
The kid could also be, in fairness, standing on something. Right now, he's behind the cans. It could be obscuring something. They could have, like, stuff for him to walk on to make the size difference look less extreme.
I never had a dog.
Listen, Kip, somebody ought to acquaint you with the facts of life. I'm a pretty big pooch.
What's that got to do with it?
Do you know what the price of meat is nowadays?
I don't care what it is. I won't go home unless you come with me.
Well, let's be sensible, kid. You can't just bring a king-size pooch like me on an unsuspecting family.
Oh, I won't bring you in right away. I'll prepare them first.
Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. The kid's up on something compared to the guy in the dog outfit. You can tell they're on two different levels of something. I don't know exactly what it looks like below there, but the kid is standing on something.
I can hide you in the garage next door. Helen will help me. I know she will.
Helen? Who's Helen?
A lady who lives next door. A friend of mine.
I'm sorry, kid, but I don't trust things. And to be frank with you, Kip, it don't exactly fit in with my plans. In the words of the poet, the best laid plans of mice and mutts gang aft in a drink. Well, I always was a sucker for a kid. So I gave up my vision of vagabondia for the time being anyway. I figured the first thing I had to do was to get the kid home. I could always shake him later. And that's how I wound up with one eye glued to the keyhole of the living room door.
Holy input. Thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it very much.
Ethel, can't you leave those dishes alone? We'll be late for the wedding.
I'm just stacking them, dear.
Connie, are you ready?
Dad,
Yes, what is it?
is it true that a dog's a man's best friend?
I shouldn't wonder.
Friends are pretty handy to have, aren't they, Dad?
Yes, I suppose so.
Is it all right with you if I have a friend?
Why not?
Even if my friend's a dog?
What friend?
The one you said I could have.
Oh,
It's all right, isn't it, Dad?
yes, sure.
Gee, Dad, thanks. Thanks a million. We better get started.
Oh god, him creepily just kneeling by the door.
Kip, why aren't you in your pajamas? Kip! Oh, that boy.
Here he is, Dad.
What on earth?
Here, who is?
The dog you said I could have. His name is Rosie.
What?
John, what have you been promising the boy?
Why, I didn't promise him anything.
Yes, you did. You said I could have a friend, even if it was a dog.
Well, I seem to remember some discussion, but I certainly didn't mean that.
That's what you said.
Now, Kip, you're simply taking advantage. You knew I was busy reading my...
This is like that time my mom got super drunk and promised to buy me a PlayStation 2 and then said she didn't remember it the next day.
Paper.
How do I look?
Probably true. She was very drunk.
Oh, my goodness. What is it? It's a dog. I know it's a dog, silly. What kind? I don't know exactly. What kind are you, Rosie? Oh, no. Go on, laugh, Smarty. He talks as well as you do. Better.
Son.
Say something, Rosie. Show him.
That sucks ass. Yeah, my parents weren't great.
That'll be quite enough. Say something, Rosie, please.
Son, you've had a long day.
John, maybe he has a little temperature.
Yeah, it's trauma dumping.
Perhaps you'd better go
You really shouldn't know me if you don't want to trauma dump. I'm real fucked up.
The wedding
and
without...
I do not know when it is appropriate to talk about things at all.
Oh, nonsense. He's tired, that's all.
I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't know.
Rosie!
Now, son, I'm sorry if I upset you. I wasn't paying much attention.
You promised me a dog.
You didn't specify what size. Now, if it's all right with your mother and you behave properly, we might see our way clear to getting you a small dog.
I want Rosie. We couldn't possibly have a dog that large around the house. Why not? We couldn't, that's all. He'd scare people. Your sister's quite right, Kip. Rosie wouldn't hurt a fly. Maybe not, but people don't know that. And I'm certainly not going to have any of my callers frightened by that beast. Beast? You ought to take a good look at some of your boyfriends. Dad!
Perfect. Perfect. No notes.
Horizons in the...
Ooh, Technicolor.
New horizons. In a restless search for new opportunities and new ways of living, the mystery and the promise of distant horizons always have called men forward. Created by the crossing of new horizons, new ways of living and new thinking have laid the foundation for most of what is good in life today, with the promise of more tomorrow.
No, Kermit shouldn't be Yoda. I think Kermit should actually be Darth Vader. And I think that, who's Kermit's nephew? You know, the smaller frog. I forget his name. He should be Luke, and he should, you know, redeem Darth Kermit over the course of the trilogy. Robin. Thank you, that's his name. I know that's not typical casting for Kermit, but that's the point. Because he was originally good and turned evil, and by the end you turn him back to good. So that's how I would cast it.
As distant families have become neighbors, and as people have constantly widened
I think, who would be Obi-Wan? Maybe Gonzo?
their viewpoint,
You could get, you could do Sam the Eagle as Obi-Wan? I don't know.
while multiplying the number of their contacts, more desires have developed to be satisfied.
Gonzo as Luke isn't bad either.
And with the demand for all of these conveniences and improvements,
Fozzie should be, Chewie, obviously.
opportunities for employment of men, money, and materials have increased. And thus the highways of social and commercial developments are widening without end or limit, except the imagination.
Obi-Wan should be the single human actor? Sure, get Ewan McGregor, have him come and do the older Obi-Wan parts. That would be funny.
Of men who do new things. Today, engineers are always leading us higher, widening the trails, while our men of science are broadening all our mental avenues with new activities.
Beaker and Honeydew should be R2-D2 and C-3PO. No, see, I think that the C-3PO and R2-D2 effectively operate as the Greek chorus of the Star Wars world. They're sort of the outsiders. They're the, who are Hamlet's friends? Why am I blanking? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. They're kind of they're in the scenario, but they're sort of off to the side commenting on it. So I think they should be the old guys from the balcony. They should be R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Activities based on modern pioneering into new fields of research.
Waldorf and Statler, thank you. I always forget their names.
Men exploring and pioneering for all to follow. Men endlessly seeking something new.
Gonzo already was Vader. Oh yeah, because Mark Hamill was on the Muppets show. I can't play this because Disney owns this, obviously. But yep, there's that.
This is Darth Nader?
Yes, Darth Nader. It's... Was Ralph Nader a politician at the time? Was that a double joke? Where were we? There it is.
On the roads of civilization, in the great unknown expanses of applied...
Han should be played by... You know who I like, who I don't think gets enough? But he's the shrimp guy. What's the shrimp's name? I think the shrimp should be, Han.
Science and scientific research.
Pepe, yeah, can't you imagine him at the scene where like, he's like, what's going on down there? We're just had a little discharge, okay? We're all fine. How are you? I can imagine in his voice, that scene.
All the new highways of research and exploration have brought to us more raw materials, new combinations of raw materials, new and greater productivity of
Agent
the soil,
Neil 007, thanks for following.
making more plentiful an ever-widening range of goods. And as these goods come down from the farm, the mine, and the mill, progress on all the highways of human...
Skipping this one. This one's boring me. Oh yeah, that's the futurist kitchen one. We've seen that.
Grandeur of our glistening...
Do one for kids. The kids one's really better. Ooh, driver's ed scare films. That might show a corpse. I should probably be careful with that. Danny's dental date. The lady from Electric Mayhem's name is Janice.
This is Mrs. Daniels. I'd like to make an appointment for Danny. At 10:30? Well, that's fine. I'll see that Danny is there on time.
Quacking. My mother just called the dentist and... Boy, we better get out of here and go everywhere where no one can find us.
This isn't stop motion. This is a marionette. Yeah, this is marionation, aka it's marionette puppets. Puppetmation. see the strings. Earthling plant, thanks for following. Yeah, this is more akin to something like Puppetoons from the time. I don't know if people are familiar with Puppetoons. Yeah, which was a series that did lots of puppet stuff. They also did stop motion, but I think they also just used normal puppets too. Maybe I'm wrong. Did they only do stop motion? For some reason in my head, I also had them as doing normal puppetry.
Always chewing on a stick, aren't you, Cap? Maybe I shouldn't have run away. I bet you think I'm a bad boy. Well, you'd run away, too, if you had to go to the dentist.
Best one they did was Thunderbirds. Oh yeah, I love those series. There's multiple series like that that use the puppets and stuff. Was that Jerry Anderson, who did those? Somewhere around the vicinity of his name. I'm forgetting it though. Rainy, thanks for a 5-stream streak. Says, as opposed to super marionation, which was a proprietary technique used by Mr. Jerry Anderson to make the shows such as Thunderbirds and Fireball XL5 a bit more sophisticated. There you go. Thank you. That is, yep, Jerry Anderson.
Maybe you wouldn't
I
have
unfortunately don't have any of his stuff on DVD. I need to get it someday.
to go to the dentist if you could chew sticks and bones like I can.
Well, what's so different about your teeth?
Well, I eat a lot of tough food, so I have big, strong, crushing teeth. Look at the marks on this stick. A crushing teeth. You know, you have crushing teeth too, Danny.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Which ones are they?
Oh, they're back in your mouth a little ways. You have 8 altogether, 2 up above on each side of your mouth. Bicuspids because they have 2 points.
But I bones too, if I wanted to.
Well, maybe not bones, but you should eat all kinds of food to exercise your
Just
different
one more
teeth.
Alice.
You
Thanks
have
for
other
following.
kinds of teeth, Danny, besides bicuspids.
That's right, Cap. Take me, for instance.
Hey, who said that?
Hi there, Cap and Danny.
Oh, hello, Bushy. What about your teeth?
Wait till you see the swell front teeth I've got. They're called incisors. Because I eat lots of roots and nuts, my incisors have to be sharp and thin-edged. See what I mean? You have incisor teeth too, Danny. They're not as big as mine, but they're right in the front of your mouth.
Gosh, I guess I do have incisors. I've got 8 of them. 4 up above and 4 below.
Speak for yourself, kid.
Yes, sir. Incisors are great teeth. And nobody has many bigger than I have.
When will we watch Stalker? Am I gonna get shit on for this question? What's Stalker?
Yep, guess you're right, Bushy. Thanks for... Hey, where'd he go?
Oh, Bushy is a busy little squirrel, and he has lots to do. Well, come on, Denny. Let's look for some other kinds of teeth.
Okay, Cap. You go on ahead. I'm coming.
Hey, I've not seen that one.
Hello there, Tom. This is my young master, Danny.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Hello, Danny. Hi, Cap.
Danny is looking for different types of teeth. What types do you have?
Wow. I've got all kinds.
I like that the cat can talk, meaning it's just sitting there and meowing for no reason. It could say words, but it just goes like, meow,
But my canine teeth, they're wonderful. They're for holding and tearing my food.
Kind of ironic that this feline is talking about her canines.
And they're called, they're pointed. Something like these claws. You have too, Danny, but they're not as sharp and long as mine. They're on each side of your incisors. One cuspid up above and one down below on each side of your mouth.
Gee, you sure know a lot about teeth, Tom.
Well, you will too, Danny. Well, thanks, Tom. We'll be seeing you.
Yeah, come around sometime for some fish, Tom. Bye.
So long.
Time to talk about molars, am I right?
Hello there, Daisy. How's the alfalfa?
Hello, Cap. Oh, the alfalfa's fine, just fine.
This is Danny, my young master. Will you tell him something about your teeth?
Why, sure, Cap. I'd be glad to.
They're all flat from chewing cud.
You see, Danny, I have very large and strong grinding teeth because I chew my hay and grass all day long.
And then I vomit it back up, and I do it again, and then I swallow it, and then I vomit it back up, and then I swallow it.
And of course, I chew my cud, too.
Nasty.
Grinding teeth work.
I am so glad I'm not a species that requires me to regurgitate my food to masticate multiple times before it can be digested. What a fucking nightmare. One and done. Goes down the hole, it's gone. I don't see it again for another day at least.
Just like this. Get the idea? You've got grinding teeth too, Danny. They're called molars, and they're way back in your mouth. There are 2 molars up above and 2 down below on each side of your mouth. You should eat tough foods like I do, Danny, so your molars will get a whole lot of exercise. Well, I guess I'd better be going. It's just about milking time, and I want to be in the barn when Farmer Jones comes to do the milking.
Got such warm, strong hands.
Gee, I never knew you animals had all those different kinds of teeth. Bicuspids and incisors and cuspids and molars. I guess I wouldn't have to see the dentist if I ate bones and nuts and tough meat and hay, but gee, who wants to eat all those things?
You don't have to, Danny. You can eat the things you like.
Nerdy with 170 stream streak says, excuse the nerding. 1, Jerry Anderson actually created his first show, Tales of the Riverbank, not far from where I live. 2, anyone who's not seen the 2015 remake of Thunderbirds is actually awesome. The fact Weta Digital are Jerry Anderson fans. And 3, shout out to Marvel for sneaking in a long-ass reveal stream that, oh boy, by the way, Ian McKellen is coming back for Avengers Doomsday. Everything, franchises just go on forever. See, I assumed that the Thunderbirds remake was bad because it's not puppets, right? It's like live action. That's so weird to me.
Your teeth also need nourishment. Foods that have all the different vitamins.
Cap is right again, Danny. Now, I furnish you with 2 important foods. The first one is milk. You should have 4 glasses or a whole quart of milk each
Does the dairy lobby want to give me money to shill milk?
day. The next
That's
food
the movie, the new series is Ah.
I supply you with is butter. You should eat at least 6 teaspoonfuls of butter or margarine every day.
I don't know enough about nutrition, but that sounds like a lot. That sounds like a decent amount of butter. That sounds like a lot of butter. Am I crazy?
Each one of these little squares you see Mother cutting off the cube is about a teaspoonful.
Because, like, they're basically telling you to eat, like, half a stick of butter a day, right? Or maybe, like, a third of a stick of butter. That seems like a decent amount of butter. Yeah, they cut up like half the fucking stick of butter.
Don't forget me. I furnish another important food, Danny. Eggs. You should eat at least 1 egg each day, or 4 or 5 a week anyway.
Yes, sir, Danny. Milk, butter, and eggs. Then you should eat 1 large serving of meat and cheese or fish every day. Also...
Wait, how much meat did they say?
Anyway.
Yes, sir, Danny. Milk, butter, and eggs. Then you should eat 1 large serving of meat and...
What's 1 large serving? I know Americans tend to eat too much meat. Like, I think they say roughly the volume of, like, a pack of playing cards is maybe how much meat you should eat in a day if you eat meat. But Americans eat way more than that. Crazy.
Cheese or fish every day. Also, you should eat some of all these vegetables and fruits. Here they come. Potatoes, cauliflower.
Cauliflower can go away.
Beets. Well, let's see how many of them you can name, Danny.
Thanks for following, Jack. Beets, why not just tell me to eat a handful of dirt? Beets stink. I used to drive through this area that had a beet processing plant for sugar beets. Beets smell like shit. And I don't mean that as like, oh, they smell bad. I mean literally, when beets are being processed, they smell like waste. What is going on with sugar beets? What is inside of them that makes them do this? Nick says I can't even stand the scent, let alone put it in my mouth. Is only smells.
Well, say, here's Danny in bed.
Wait,
the
he's
real-life Danny.
He's a person now?
He must have been having a dream.
Oh.
But I guess that appointment with the dentist was real because Danny is hurrying to get there on time at 10 o'clock. Oh, don't worry, Cap. Danny will be through in just a few minutes. You just wait right there. Well, here's the dentist's office, and Danny is right on time. The dentist's assistant puts Danny in this special chair and puts a clean towel around him so he won't get his shirt dirty. Then she adjusts the headrest so he can lean back comfortably without getting too tired. And here comes the dentist. He's just washed his hands so they'll be nice and clean.
Hello there, Danny.
Is he not going to wear gloves? Were latex gloves not a mass-produced thing yet? He's just going to stick his hands in this guy's mouth.
How are you?
I would be very uncomfortable with that. I couldn't deal with that. As long as someone's hand, if a dentist's hand is gloved, no issue whatsoever. Completely clinical, normal, won't even think about it. If someone tries to stick their fingers in my mouth without a glove in a dental situation, yeah, no, I'm not gonna, that's, Nope, I don't want to taste dentist hand, thank you.
Well, Danny, we're going to look in your mouth to see if you have any holes or cavities in your teeth. Now open wide so I can see real good. Now this instrument I'm going to use is a feeler. We dentists call them explorers. It's just a sharp point that lets me feel the teeth. If there are any holes in...
Widespread use of latex glove in dentistry didn't become a thing until the 80s and 90s? Oh, no!
The point sticks. That way I know there is a cavity beginning to form in the tooth, a hole that should be filled. Here, Danny, you take hold of this mirror, and I'll show you a little cavity. You see there? It's black, and this feeler sticks in it. That's one we'd better fill. Well, now, in order to fill it, we have to grind out all the bad part of the tooth.
Man, that is crazy how the drills used to have to be on these things because they actually needed to be, like, connected to a thing to power it. That's crazy.
That black and decayed part. And we have little instruments that are called drills, but they're really grinders. And they grind...
Johnny P says, but if you were there at the time, you would have no opinion on whether or not he wore them. You know? Generally, subjectivity is something I can get behind, but I'm gonna put it out there. If I was more or less the same person, just in the past, I would still care. I would still care deeply.
Grind out all...
Don't stick your fingers in my mouth.
The bad part. Here, I'll show you how they work. Now, I'm going to carve my initial on my fingernail. See? Now let's try it on your fingernail. We're going to do the same thing to your tooth that we did to your fingernail. This will grind out the decayed part. You'll feel it. Sometimes it jars and grinds, and sometimes it hurts a little bit, but not too bad. Now we'll squirt some water in your mouth to wash out all the bad part of the tooth we ground out. You just lean over and spit. Say, you have a pretty good spitter, Danny. Now we'll dry out the hole in the tooth with little balls of cotton. We want to be sure it's nice and clean. Then we'll sterilize it with medicine that we put on these little pieces of cotton.
No, they didn't give him anything for the pain.
It tastes funny, but don't let that worry you. Next, we take some small rolls of cotton and put them in your mouth. They fit under the tongue on one side and next to the cheek on the other. They keep the saliva from getting the tooth wet. Here, Danny, you hold the cotton with your finger.
Like gladiator
now, while
movies,
I'm drying
Danny?
out the cavity, the nurse is putting some filling material in a little glass jar. There's mercury and silver, and they mix together to form an amalgam that we will use to fill your tooth.
Oh! Mercury in your mouth. That's probably good for you. Once it sets, it's probably fine, right? Is that fine once it sets? Or is that really bad still?
This filling material is put inside this instrument, and all I have to do is to poke the end, and some of the amalgam goes into the hole in your tooth. Now I have to pack the material in. I have to push hard so the filling will fit real tight and won't come out. It will seal the cavity and make a whole tooth again. Sometimes we have to add filling material several times before the tooth is completely filled. And it all has to be pressed in real good, so you hold your head tight, Danny, so that I can press down hard. There now, we're almost through. With these little carving instruments, I'll shave away the extra filling material and make your tooth nice and smooth and comfortable. Be sure, though, not to chew on it for a couple of hours. Otherwise, you might break it, and we would have to do it all over again, which we don't want to do we? Now we'll wash out your mouth.
I'm hearing some people say, no, it's always bad, and other people say they still use them. And those two things aren't technically mutually exclusive. They could both be true at the same time, but I kind of hate that.
And give you a chance to spit out some of the excess filling material. There now, you're all through. Come back in a few days and we'll polish the filling. Say, Danny, do you know how to brush your teeth? If you brush them real good, you won't have so many cavities. First thing you need is a tooth.
Here's some info from the EPA. Are they safe? When amalgam fillings are placed in or removed from teeth, they can release a small amount of mercury vapor. Amalgam can also release small amounts of mercury vapor during chewing. People can absorb these vapors by inhaling or ingesting them. However, the US FDA considers dental amalgam fillings safe for adults and children over the age of 6. FDA regulates dental amalgam as a medical device. FDA is responsible for ensuring that dental amalgam... Is it basically just such a small amount that they've decided it's irrelevant, or that it's safe as long as it's not a ton? Still, I'm gonna avoid that if I can, either way.
Toothbrush with bristles that are straight across, about 2 rows wide and 6 rows long, and a good husky handle that you can really get hold of. Now, when you brush your teeth, always brush toward the chewing surface, down on the uppers and up on the lowers. In brushing your teeth, start up on the gums.
I was told to do little circles.
Then brush down over the tooth surface with a rotary motion. Do it several times in one place. And then pull the brush forward and make sure you don't miss any spots. It's a good idea to do this in front of a mirror the first few times you try it. And when you get to the middle of your mouth, you'll have to change the toothbrush around. But always start up on the tooth, on the gums, and brush down over the tooth surface. Now you do the same thing on the inside of your mouth that you did on the outside. When you get to the curve or arch in the front of your mouth, just take the end of the brush and pull it forward. But remember to start up on the gum and bring it down toward the biting surface. If you always do this, the little particles of food up under your gums will be squeezed out and can be brushed away. In the lower mouth, do the same thing. Start down on the gums and brush up. And the same thing is done on the inside of the mouth. Again, in the inside of the front of the mouth, just the ends of the brush are pulled over the teeth, always starting down on the gums. Now, when you get to the chewing surface, the bristles are just laid on the tops of the teeth, and the brush is rotated
That kid is so
or vibrated.
bored. Look at him.
Try to force the bristles...
That kid wants to be literally anywhere but here.
...into the tiny tooth crevices. Well, Danny, Miss Johnson will give you an appointment to come back and get that filling polished. So long, Danny.
And look, Miss Johnson is giving Danny a brand new toothbrush. Now he can keep his teeth white and clean. Well, Cap, you didn't have to wait so very long, did you? Danny has his teeth all fixed up, and he feels pretty good about it.
We're gonna see the cat. I hope we get to see the cat, but in real life. And the cow.
It really wasn't.
Boo! Show me the cat. You guys suck.
We all know.
Real quick, I actually have to use the bathroom real quick. While I do, Chair will tell you about, Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. I don't know if I've shown this one before. You're back. Don't go anywhere. Oh, hello. I've returned.
Know so well what telephones look like, how simple they appear to be, and how easy they are to use, that we seldom give them a second thought. It's hard to believe that the telephone once looked like this. Down through the years since it was invented, the telephone has been redesigned again and again. One purpose being to make voices sound clearer and more natural.
Check out, mine does this. Can your phone do that? Early, mid 20th century propaganda movie for Bell telephones?
Over the telephone. When you use the telephone, many interesting
dial phones, rotary phones.
Things happen to your voice. We might start with the fact that voices are made up of sound waves caused by vibrations. As a matter of fact, all sounds come from vibrations. If you pluck a guitar string, you can see the vibrations. Of course, you can't see the sound waves, but we do know what they are like. Sound waves are waves of pressure traveling through the air. They occur this way. Air is made up of very small particles or molecules that can move about. As the string vibrates, the molecules of air next to the string are moved back and forth. They push the ones next to them, the motion going on and on from molecule to molecule in waves of pressure that travel outward from the vibrating string.
New chair, give up your secrets. Where have you hidden the eternal incarceration of the one true chair? The other chair, the old chair, is in the other room where Lupine lays on it. So old chair lives as a piece of cat furniture because Lupine claimed it and loves it.
If you make the string move far, the sound is loud. And of course, if you make the string move only a little, the sound is soft. If the vibrations are slower, the sound is lower in pitch. If the vibrations are faster, the sound is higher in pitch. In much the same way, the vocal cords in your throat make the sounds of your voice. Variations in pitch and in breathing produce variations in the sound waves.
Heat from fire, fire from heat, etc.
These waves are modified as they bounce around in the air passages and are then formed into words. When the sound waves come out of your mouth, they have a distinct, complex pattern that is your very own, as individually yours as your fingerprint. Now let's see what happens when the sound waves of your voice enter the telephone mouthpiece, the transmitter. Here, the waves strike against a thin metal plate called a diaphragm. The movement of the diaphragm, though unbelievably slight, corresponds truly to the sound of your voice. Behind the center of the diaphragm is a tiny package of carbon grains. When a sound wave strikes the diaphragm, it sends...
Alex asks, why does everyone say I should like my dad? I think people with good relationships with their parents find it hard sometimes to understand that there are people with bad or non-existent relationships with their parents. Which is maybe good, that it's so outside of the realm of their reality that they don't get it. I'm glad most people have good relationships with their parents. But it does make me a little sad when you have to explain to someone like, no, my dad was a terrible, terrible person, or my parents were terrible, abusive people. Oh, you sound like your dad. I completely misread that. I'm projecting.
Wave of pressure through these grains.
Why does everyone say you sound like your dad? I don't know. Do you sound like your dad? Killing it today, everyone. And by it, hopefully, I mean... Nope. Nope. Minecraft joke. Nope.
Electricity flowing along a wire goes through the carbon grains. They resist the flow of electricity. When the diaphragm presses heavily, the grains allow more electricity to flow. On the other hand, when the pressure is lighter, less electricity flows through.
I'm moving on from the phone one. I don't think that's very interesting, personally, or at least maybe it gets into a thing later. No, that's the end. What's this one?
Everywhere. It beats. Sound is all around us, everywhere. It beats at our eardrums until much of the time we're hardly conscious of it. But on this particular Saturday morning, Jimmy Foster suddenly became very conscious of it, because a sound made him jump. Or was it really the sound that made him jump? It seemed as though the post was vibrating. Well, he'd soon find out whether there was a vibration along with the sound. The scrap of wood showed him that when the bell sounds, it does vibrate.
I'm sorry, is there a particular reason that this child is carrying around a small block of wood tied to a rope? This feels like an improvised weapon. Is he a miscreant? What is he doing?
Jimmy's ears were now wide open to the sounds around him. His eyes were open, too. Suddenly, he saw the steam from a whistle way over there.
It was the 40s, does not explain. You can't just say it was the 40s and have it make sense that you're carrying around a block of wood tied to a rope. That's not an explanation.
But didn't hear it until several seconds later. Jimmy became curious about sound and decided to look up his cousin, Phil.
Wow, did you see that little move he did? That was such a boy howdy! Gee Willikers, Batman!
Jimmy became curious about sound.
Look at it!
And decided to look up his cousin, Phil Hansen. Phil is a radio ham, runs an amateur transmitter. He should know.
If sound is vibration, Phil, how does it get from one place to another?
Mostly through the air, Jimmy. You see, the vibration of my voice box makes the air vibrate between us. Then when the air vibrates your eardrum...
Vibration of voice box.
You can prove that air carries sound.
The kid kind of looks like Peter Pan. You know what I mean? Like, it almost looks like, you know how they often will cast Peter Pan as a woman who looks young, you know? Historically, they've done that at least. I don't know if they still do that. This kid kind of has that Peter Pan look, where it kind of looks like a woman. A little weird. Nothing wrong with that. Just has a Peter Pan look, you know what I mean? Yeah, it looks like a lipstick. That's what's getting me. Looks like the kid's wearing lipstick.
Sound by... Have you seen a demonstration of a bell under a glass jar? With normal air inside the jar, you could hear the bell clearly. But when the vacuum pump drew the air out of the jar, there was nothing inside to carry the vibrations of the bell. Nothing until the air was let back into the jar.
So you need air for sound to travel through?
You need something, but it doesn't have to be air. Here, I'll show you. We'll use a microphone, which is a sort of mechanical ear. Now, it picks up sound vibrations and changes them into electrical impulses. These go through the amplifier to the speaker.
Jesus, look at the tubes on that thing. Not an integrated circuit in sight. Look at that. I'm really curious. Something comparable today, whatever this device did exactly. How small could you make this device today? Probably this big, right?
Amplifier to the speaker, which changes them back into sound vibrations.
I mean, I guess I'm using a microphone right now, and it's literally just this and a plug. So I guess arguably, this is that device. It's just all built into the microphone, and some of it's in the computer. Also, it's a USB mic, so it functions differently than the old type of mic. This is digital, as opposed to an old style, you know?
Now, the sound of my voice travels to the microphone through air, doesn't it?
I guess so. Sure.
Well, sound actually travels better and faster through solid things. Iron or aluminum or glass. Here, hold the microphone over here. Now, what do you hear?
Nothing.
And neither does the microphone, or we'd hear it from the speaker. Now, I'll hold my watch up against the aquarium. You hold the microphone against your end.
Water is actually a better conductor of sound than air is. You just, you know, don't live underwater. Ashley won up with a link to what the device is. So there you go. That's how tiny. Pretty tiny. Also, I would imagine works better. And you don't need to change the tubes.
Now I hear it.
That's because sound travels better through the glass than it does through air. Now, since the watch is waterproof...
I guess that proves that sound also travels better through water.
That's right. And speaking of water, it can also show us how sound travels. Toss a rock in a pool and watch how the ripples start from the splash and travel out. And if there's something floating on the surface, you'll see that it's the disturbance that moves, and not the water as a whole. Sound travels the same way. Start this bell vibrating. Then slow it down, and we see that it pushes out and compresses the air, then springs back, causing a lower pressure, then pushes out again. As this goes on, places of slightly higher air pressure, or compressions, travel outward, separated by places of slightly lowered pressure, or expansions. The distance between one compression and the next is called the wavelength of a sound, as is the distance from one expansion to the next. Of course, the frequency is the number of waves per second. When these
Excuse you, our conspiracy streams tell us that frequency is just a word you use when you want to justify the unjustifiable.
Vibrations reach your eardrum, you hear the sound. But remember, it's the vibrations that travel, not the air.
Say, those vibrations travel pretty fast, don't they, Phil?
Compared to some things, yes, but not compared to the speed of light.
That's a weird thing to say.
Light travels at the rate of about 186,000 miles per second. Sound travels through the air at about 1,100 feet per second.
That's why I saw the whistle before I heard it.
And with your watch, you could measure the distance between you and the whistle. Because light travels so fast, you see the steam from the whistle almost instantly. But the sound traveling at 1,100 feet a second... Now, if it takes 5 seconds to reach you, you know that the sound is 5 times 1,100 feet, or more than a mile away.
Say, I can have a lot of fun measuring distance by sound.
And there's another trick.
Oh, wow, kids were bored back in the day. You know what'd be fun? Recreational math.
The watch. You know what this is?
Sure, it's a light reflector.
It's also a sound reflector. Stand over there a minute, Jimmy.
You say it's a sound reflector?
Sure, sound can be reflected almost like light. Now, what do you hear?
Why, nothing, I guess.
All right. Now listen when I hold it so the reflector directs the sound.
Say, that's wonderful. It sounds as if it's right next to my ear.
Yes, sound reflects pretty much like light, or a rubber ball, or like a spring. Try this, Jimmy. Hook one end over the reflector. Now pull it out straight. That's it. Now, the spring is just like air in silence. No disturbances, no compressions. Strike one end of it, Jimmy.
Why, the compressions travel right along and bounce off the end, back and forth.
Right. And when sound bounces back that way,
It's an echo.
in motion picture studios and radio stations, reflected sounds can cause trouble. They often hang draperies to kill some of the reverberation. A combination of hard and soft walls usually gives the best sound quality.
Sound quality? Now, what's that?
Well, quality. It's one of the 3 characteristics of sound. We've already mentioned the other 2. Know what they are?
Well, let's see. Quality is one, you said something about frequency. Is that one?
That's almost it. But let's call it pitch, which depends mainly on frequency.
What about how loud it is?
Right.
Amplitude.
Loudness, pitch, and quality. I can show you all 3.
Show me a sound?
Sure. By turning on this oscilloscope, it draws a picture of a sound. Be careful, Jimmy. It belongs to my radio club.
Mock this as you well, but consider how many of today's kids just aren't learning this. I don't know why people assume that when I'm watching this stuff, I'm sneering at it. I make jokes because, like, we're trying to have a good time. I love this stuff. I think it's cool. I'm not making fun of it, like, because I hate it or because I think it's stupid. I'm making fun of it because I love this shit and I think it's really interesting. Not saying this is bad. I promise. I'm just being snarky.
Now watch. This is a picture of my voice as I talk, Jimmy.
Can I see my voice? Hey, there it is.
Now, about these characteristics of sound, we'll start with loudness. Make a sound on this ocarina, Jimmy. Now, louder.
The louder I blow, the taller the lines get.
That's right. Try it again. The height or amplitudes of the jumps changes according to the loudness or intensity of the sound. And another thing, watch how the sound falls off in intensity as I move away from the microphone.
Oscilloscopes are fucking
So you
cool.
see-
They actually, I think, designed the first ever video game on a modified oscilloscope. They made Tennis for 2. Hold on. See if I can pull this up. There it is. Yeah, they modified this oscilloscope to turn it into a video game because they were doing some sort of like, oh, bring your family to the lab day, and this lab, someone who tinkered around with stuff in the lab, turned the oscilloscope into a fucking game to make it a table tennis or a tennis. So basically a precursor to something like Pong. Okay, it's making mechanical switches move, and that's what makes it function. It's incredible. So good.
The loudness of any sound you hear varies with its intensity and its distance from you.
Yeah, and then came the Magnavox Odyssey. That was after Pong. Pong came out, and then some other cabinets, and then Magnavox came out with the Odyssey, which was basically just a bunch of different Pong games with overlays and slightly different rules. The Haunted House one's pretty cool, if for no other reason. The layover's cool. TV. Did the Odyssey really come before Pong? Guess I didn't know that. Thanks for correcting me.
And this is shown by the amplitude of the...
But can you teabag opponents in-game when you beat them? Unfortunately, back then, you had to teabag your opponent in real life.
jumps. Shallow waves for a soft note, and high waves for a loud note. Now, what do you suppose shows a pitch?
Maybe the number of waves, huh?
Almost right, Jimmy. Here, try running a scale on this and watch.
The number of waves does change with the pitch.
We call the number of waves each second frequency. And the length of the waves changes, too. Short waves for a high note. Long waves for a low note. Now, you can hear two sounds of the same loudness and pitch, and still they sound different.
And that's where quality comes in?
Right. Try singing the 5 vowels on the same note.
A.
Oh, random. I was just talking about the Odyssey. The funniest game on Magnavox Odyssey was the Blackjack. Because it's not even a game. You basically just spin the thing, and there's a thing on the TV that looks like a blackjack wheel, and there's just like a dot behind it, and wherever you randomly put the dot, boom, there you go. There's your roulette wheel.
Oh, you.
Now, compare my note to yours. Me.
Me. The waves seem to have different shapes.
Yes, the quality of the sound determines the shape of the wave. We can have two sounds of the same loudness and pitch, and still they're very different.
And that's that.
That's that, but it's not all by any means. There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject. But remember those 3 characteristics. And remember that all sound is vibration. It won't travel through a vacuum, but it does travel through air. At the speed of about 1,100 feet a second. It travels even better through solids. And through water.
Fairchild Channel F was the first console to use programmable ROM carts. Yeah, and that guy didn't get credit for that for a very long time.
It travels in waves of compressions and expansions. With those points in mind, Jimmy, you can go on to a thorough study of the nature of...
That's for me.
It's so weird where these cut off. Thanks, Cornet. Fuck the Safety Patrol video. I don't know if I care about the Safety Patrol video. How long is it, I guess? It's only like 10 minutes. We could do a Safety Patrol video. H-Bird says, let's all go have fun measuring distances with sound. I'm good.
Washington, our nation's capital, has been visited.
Rainey says the fun thing is Pong infringed on patents that Magnavox had, which were used in the Odyssey, and they sued Bushnell, the founder of Atari, for that. To this day, Magnavox receives royalties to fundamental tech still used in a large number of video games. That's pretty neat. I'm not going to cry too much for Bushnell in that, though. He ended up also being rich off of inventing Chuck E. Cheese, so... that guy's fortune was locked up. Invented Atari and fucking Chuck E. Cheese. What a life.
by millions of Americans, young and old.
Fun fact, when some of the people who worked at Atari left and formed the company Acclaim, they chose the name Acclaim because it would come earlier in the phone book alphabetically than Atari, so you'd call them first.
And here in Washington...
Activision might have had a similar story, I don't know.
Are some of the
but certainly Acclaim was that.
Boys and girls of the school safety patrols. This visit to America's most historic city will always be a thrilling memory to those who attend the National Assembly of School Safety Patrols. Everyone knows what the School Safety Patrol does. On street corners all over the country, safety patrols remind people, children and adults, to be safe in traffic. We know that everything possible is done to keep children safe while they're riding school buses. And the bus patrol members keep them safe when they're getting in and out. The safety patrol means more safety.
Thank you, it was Activision. Okay.
In school.
Or no, Action Vision.
And on the playground. School authorities, police departments, and public-spirited groups have done a fine job of...
Phoenix says, I could never be a woman or girl in the 50s. I hate dresses and don't wear makeup. I could have never been a woman or girl in the 50s because I have a penis.
Organizing and supporting the school safety patrol.
I was a safety patrol guard, too. We had to be.
These boys and girls are chosen as safety patrol members because they've earned the respect of their schoolmates and because they can be leaders. Of course, even if we're not safety patrol members ourselves, safety is our business, no matter how old or how young we are, or whether we go to school or what we do. But wherever you may be, you'll find the Safety Patrol helping others in learning to be safe and reminding us all that it's better to be safe.
Yes, there were trans men and women in the 50s. I was just making a joke about the social acceptability of it.
I'm sorry.
Trans people didn't just start existing.
And sometimes, Safety Patrol members do much more than is expected of them in teaching the habits of safety. For example, there's the story of Jimmy Adams. One morning, early this winter, Jimmy was guarding his corner as usual.
So much less accessible and scary. I have so much respect for trans people who were like doing it back in the day, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even the fucking 90s. Genuinely, holy shit, all elder trans people, fuck yeah, that shit's rough. It's hard enough now. I don't know how people did it then. Jesus.
Look, Billy. Would you mind waiting for my go signal before you cross the street?
Ah, I don't need anyone to tell me what to do.
That's just what you do need. Walk, Billy! Walk!
Billy's gonna get... Something's gonna happen to Billy.
That Billy Jones. Always running. Never looking.
Well, it's your corner. What do you want to do about him?
I don't know. He doesn't pay any attention to anybody.
That kid needs to be led by the hand.
Say, that gives me an idea. Look, Cap, if I get an okay from the sponsor, can you put someone else on my post after school tonight?
Okay. Paul, you take the corner. What are you going to do, Jimmy?
I'm going to do just what Paul said. Lead him by the hand.
That seems ominous.
I have a note here from the principal that says Billy Jones has permission to leave school a few minutes early today. You may leave now, Billy.
Billy didn't know what it was all about. But Jimmy did.
What did he call his parents?
Billy that safety patrol members are not chosen to be bosses, but to help others.
When I was in safety patrol, they chose us to be bosses so we could yell at the kindergartners and tell them to stop running. That's about it.
Now we're gonna do what the patrol member says. Stand here. And as long as we're here, we might as well find out what he does. He stands 3 feet back from the street. When we can cross safely, he signals us to cross. Like this, see? And we walk. Billy, why don't you
The people who did Riverdale are going to do a live-action Scooby-Doo for Netflix. Odd that it isn't going to be on Max. David's hatred for animated properties continues. Oh, God. Is that gonna be good, though? I'll give it a shot.
get smart?
It couldn't be worse than Velma, right? Right? Right?
The way you act sets a bad example for all the other kids. Look, there's a boy learning to drive in the high school's driver training car. And Billy, you can bet that the safety rules he's learning while he's driving are easier for him. Because he's already learned the safety rules for walking.
Jimmy explained the safety rules for pedestrians. Stop at the curb. Look both ways. Wait until it's safe. Then
I don't
walk
think they're gonna kill him, Rainey. It's not Faces of Death. It's fine.
across the street.
This is like a Cornet one. The Cornet films didn't get extreme like that. In the 60s and 70s, I think you started to get more extreme examples of scare films where they did stuff like that. But the 50s, it was still very wholesome, very Hays Code approved type material.
If a car is parked so it blocks the view of traffic, children are to wait on the curb while the patrol member steps into the street. Not more than 3 steps either. If there's no patrol member at the corner, you've got to be extra careful about parked cars.
All the way home, Jimmy talked about safety and how easy it is to be careful. And all the way home, Billy seemed to be paying no attention at all.
Good night, Mr. Safety.
Okay. And I'm going to take you to school Monday, too. I'll be waiting right here.
And the next day, Saturday, Billy was just as careless as ever about crossing streets. He just wanted to get those groceries home in a hurry so he could spend the rest of the weekend having fun.
Hey, stay! Give me that car. Come on, come on. Watch out!
You dang kids, get out of the road!
You kids are lucky to be alive. And if it hadn't been for you, son, they might not be alive. Thanks, fella. That was quick thinking. You're a regular Mr. Safety, aren't you?
Mr. Safety. Billy had been kidding when he called Jimmy Mr. Safety, but the truck driver wasn't kidding. Suddenly, Billy knew it was no joke about safety being one of the most important rules in life.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Bill.
I just came to tell you, you don't need to take me to school Monday morning.
I'll be there, don't worry.
But you don't have to.
I don't?
Look, Jim, honest, I've learned my lesson about safety.
Look, Jim. He's getting serious now. Not Jimmy, Jim. Jimothy? Can I call you Jimothy? I've learned my lesson.
All right, then I won't take you to school.
But how about us just walking together? You know, friends. And maybe we could talk about me joining the safety patrol?
Okay. Friends. Maybe we can talk about the safety patrol.
That's why Jimmy Adams and Billy Jones are good friends. And more important, that's why Billy Jones obeys traffic safety rules and respects the safety patrol members. There are thousands of boys like Jimmy Adams, and thousands of girls too, helping to protect precious lives by giving up some of the time they could be using for fun. You'll find them on duty in rain or snow, sunshine or storm, proud to be doing their job.
Okay. Hi, Jim. Hi, Bill.
Usually they have adults do crossing guard stuff now. Like, this is more crossing guard than safety patrol. Did something happen? Was there like a high-profile safety patrol kid gets a bunch of other kids murdered thing, and they moved to having adults do this? Just curious. Something I notice. You see in old movies, kids doing this. But, like, today, generally, it's, like, older person, maybe retired, who just wants to volunteer and help out, and they, you know, do the crossing guard thing. Or maybe we just largely preventatively decided, hey, maybe we should have adults do this, but...
And many more children, like Billy, though they may not be patrol members themselves, are doing an important job of setting good examples for their schoolmates.
Might be regional, too. Near me, it tends to be older people. There might still be places where it's kids. I don't know.
Yes, that OK signal means that the patrol members are off duty. But it also means another job well done. Thousands of jobs well done. But, of course, it isn't all work. Some patrol activities are fun.
Have any of you seen the Safety Patrol movie from the 90s?
Picnics, hikes, and camping trips. Baseball games. Special movies for patrol members. And other events planned for them because their work is appreciated.
Same, Baja, same.
In America,
I had the flag duty, so I learned how to fold an American flag.
There are more than 500,000 safety patrol.
And this was like, what was this, 5th grade? There was this girl that I was like, it was me and this other girl who were assigned to the flagpole spot, and it was our job to take the flag up and down. And I was a very awkward kid. I'm still awkward, but I'm not a kid anymore. But I was an awkward kid. And I didn't know how to interact with people. So one day after school, when I was about to run up to get on the bus, I literally was like, "Will you go out with me?" And then I ran on the bus and she shouted, "No!" Which is hilarious. Fully deserved.
Patrol members. They are proud to represent all of us everywhere who know that safety is everyone's business. And all of us, young and old, can help them represent us even better.
No, don't say aw. I didn't have any reason to ask her out even in like the 5th grade elementary school way. I didn't really know her. I just didn't know how to interact with people or other children. I knew that was a thing and that like kids like, you know, went out with each other. It's 5th grade, so not really, but you know, in that way that kids kind of pretend to or play act at dating. I think I was just trying to be a normal person, and I just didn't know how to do it.
If we follow their lead and try ourselves to be examples of safety on every street and highway, every day of the year.
What the fuck is a normal person? The in-group that I am excluded from. People who are in an in-group that I am not a part of. Thanks, Chevy. If you have umbrage with me saying normal, I'll just say normative. You know what I mean. Typical.
Most of all.
Okay. I think that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out for another VHS Vault. Appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be doing something strange again. We might do Chief Motto. He's been up to some stuff. Maybe some other sob sit stuff as well. Friday, like I said, I think we're planning on doing meme stocks, so that'll be cool. Otherwise, let's see who we're gonna raid. The archives is going. Sounds good. Alright, have a great night, everyone. I will see you tomorrow or whenever you're next able to see a stream. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and thumbs up the stream. It helps. And again, on Sunday, we're going to do our next paid patron and YouTube member stream. So if you'd like to be a part of that, join the Patreon as a paid member or become a YouTube member. All right. Until next time, see y'all later. Have a great night. Love you, Mr. Blast.